Now let me tell you something else. We're about to move into a different presentation right now, coming from IBM, and right now we have Mr. Timothy Peck from IBM going to be presenting a couple of things right now about the digital era and innovation in the data age. Karibu. Mr. Timothy Peck from IBM. Woo! Karibu.
Hi, Timothy.
Well, it's now good afternoon. I'll be very quick. Okay, all of you are into innovation, so let's make sure we understand what it means. So the definition is basically to invent something that is new, either a new process or a new item. But I've got two key things that I think you need to make sure about your innovation, and I take the point of the last discussion that sometimes we need things for humanitarian purposes. But in general, if you're in the commercial space, the solution must be for a defined problem, and there must be a valid commercial need for it. And the last one is very, very important. So what is innovation? I'm going to give you a couple of examples, and in each example we're going to talk about the person who made the money and the person who didn't make the money. So the first one's the ball bearing, okay? The person who actually invented the first commercial use of this was in the 1800s. But it's basically ball bearings in basically a U tray, and for putting carriages on and off more easily. But it didn't really make much money. The person who made the most money out of this was one who did the radial ball bearings. And for marketing of that solution, he put it in a bicycle that then won the world championship. And now I think every wheel has ball bearings in it. A radial ball bearing. Right, I very rarely do this, because whilst I was born in Nigeria, I was brought up in Yorkshire, and if anybody actually understands Yorkshire people, we're very tight with money. So I've got £20, so about 50,000 shillings. If anybody can tell me, early in the 1920s, in the 20th century, somebody else effectively used the same type of technology to make something that you still use today. No IBMers, okay, because you already know them. Sorry? I can't hear what you're saying. No? Don't think if... No. Well, are you using Tesla? You earn more money than I do. But very, very common. Most of you will have one with you. You've got another chance, by the way, because there's another invention that comes after this. The ballpoint pen. That wasn't what you said, no? Okay, I just want to make sure. I don't want to... So again, moving liquid from one point to another point. But the person who first came out with it was Loud. But he made it to put markings on rough surfaces, and it was a very big item. And basically the patent died, because nobody really saw much of a commercial use. You could still use that with a paintbrush. But our Hungarian Laszlo Biro actually got fed up of getting ink on his fingers when he was writing. And he created the Ballpoint Fountain Pen, which virtually every one of you in the room, I'd be surprised, doesn't use one sometime during the day. So, £20 is still here. In the 1950s, somebody used exactly the same technology to solve another problem. Am I going to keep this? Yeah? Any ideas? Again, a large percentage of you will have used this on a daily basis. Sorry? Not medicine, no. Or pencil, no. Hopefully it will change. Roll-on deodorant. Sorry? You're just about to say it. Timing's everything, you know. As a Yorkshireman, I'm very happy. So, when Helen Deserens joined Mum were one of the first deodorant manufacturers in the US. Her team actually devised the roll-on deodorant. And again, it is still being used today. My point is that there wasn't really much research in terms of new materials or new technologies. It was about understanding the problem. What is the problem you're trying to solve? And then look around at what is available to solve it. So there's another one which I found fascinating. Somebody made this presentation, and it's about the challenge a very large US car manufacturer had. And they came to a Japanese lateral thinker. And the challenge they had was, how do we make money out of our innovation? Their frustration was, within about 3 months of something new going into the car, the competition had already countered it with something else. So there's no real value in the innovation that they're putting in there. Again, this is commercial. If you're going to invent things, you need to actually make money from it, unless you're doing humanitarian, in which case you feel really good about it. Okay? You solve problems. So the solution, proposed solution, and think about this. He's a lateral thinker. He focused on what the car owner's problem was. And those of you who live in Nairobi or Lagos, where do you park your car? If you can get through all the traffic, your next problem is, how do I park the car? So his solution was, get the car company to buy up parking lots in city centres and only allow drivers of their cars to park in them. Unfortunately, it was too radical for the board, so it's still a solution that anybody can take up. Because as a car driver, I hate trying to find somewhere to park in city centres. It either costs you a lot of money or you can't find something. So that's the thought process. Now I want to introduce you to something. On the panel, we had a lot of discussion about building skills and making sure people have the right skills. What I was delighted to see is we've got representatives of the schools. Our CEO started about 4 or 5 years ago. We started a Skills in Africa initiative. And to date now we have 190 universities teaching some of our programs, which is bridging the gap between the university degree and what industry requires, whether it's data science, whether it's cybersecurity, or mobile application development. But she then gave us a new challenge, which was, how do we, that currently has about 40,000 graduates from 190 universities, but she wanted us to reach millions of people and make it freely available to as many, as inclusive as possible. Now, we don't solve the problem if somebody doesn't have network access. We are working with telcos and governments to try and help that, but it does still require a network access for this. So the idea is to empower the youth of Africa with skills that would allow them to gain benefit from the digital age. So we have 3 tracks. We had about 30 different personas we came across, and we tried to create a learning and enablement platform that would allow people to gain knowledge that was relevant to them. The Explorer track is basically 7 modules of about 30 minutes of videos which teach people about the key technologies that are driving the digital revolution today. They get a video on what the technology is. So if it's blockchain, what does blockchain really mean? And it isn't just about cryptocurrencies. And then examples of how it's been used, and links to other sources of information if they'd like to get that information. The Innovator is all about today. And it's about unleashing somebody's thought process, but teaching them how to create an idea, i.e. define the problem, understand who the solution's for, the personas they want to do it, and then build the solution. So this platform allows you to build as well as to understand how to do it. And those who are actually more technical have the opportunity to learn more about key technologies. So if they want to understand how to do JavaScript, they can learn how to do JavaScript. All of these courses come with digital badges that are supported by IBM or certified by IBM. The last one, since we were talking about AI just a little bit, includes a little bit of play with AI. You can have an interview, build your curricula by voice or traditional, but the AI engine also connects to most of the online websites in Africa and will actually tell you which technical skills you are missing for particular jobs. So if you want to, you can then add those jobs, those courses to your learning profile, take those courses and go back. So the idea is to bridge the gap between what's required and what you have. I'm going to move forward. There's a seventh one on the actual course as an Explorer, which is coding. And we're going to actually introduce another level of coding which would suit for primary school, so doing blockchain coding. But basically, this is changing all of the time. This is an ongoing project. We're trying to be agile. And if anybody's worked in IBM, that's a not so easy a job. So this is a program that we are delivering changes virtually every month. In innovation, the main thing that it talks about is basically the methodology, and then gives you examples of how currently there are about 7 different types of innovation, including the AI-inspired chatbots and so on. We can make this presentation, by the way, available to everybody here through the organizers. And then, as I said, the new collar for those who want to understand more technical details. And we link to lots of other resources that are available so that people can go into more depth. This is freely available, okay? There's no cost involved. You get a Cloud Light account for free, which allows you 41 different services. And we want to, hopefully get the next one so you can see it, invite you, not sure the time now, but anyway, we're going to be in an air-conditioned room. Way! Okay, that should be enough to get to lots of you there. Seating, I've got 2 colleagues who are going to run this workshop. This is a workshop not only about taking you through DNA, but also about how you can run a hackathon. We've already worked with some of the innovation hubs running hackathons in their countries. And this, we've worked with customers about hackathons using both high school students and university students. And this is running inside the hotel, basically go in the hotel, turn immediately left, can't remember if it's down or up the stairs, and then along the corridor and turn left and the room's there. But if you want to connect, there's 2 ways of connecting. This one actually links it to this event, which is the ibm.biz/afrilabs-DNA, or you can just do digitalnationafrica.com. I apologize, especially to Facebook who are here, we're still not allowed in IBM to use social media to register. You have to register using your email. But it's free, okay? That's it. Nothing else. I'm trying to keep it quick.